Donald Trump welcomed the reigning champions of baseball, the Dodgers, and both Mookie Betts and Dave Roberts made the trek from the team hotel in D.C. where they're playing, and they lost to the Natitudes on Monday night. But before that, during the day, the Dodgers made a trip over to the White House, and they hung out with the president. Now, Dave Roberts and Mookie Betts were there. Why does that matter? Why is that relevant? Well, the reason it's relevant, let me explain, is you had Dave Roberts, who had hinted way back in 2019, I barely remember that, that was pre-pandemic, he said that he would skip a Trump White House trip. He now, this time around, called it a great honor. But 5 years ago, or 6 years ago, he said, I'd probably skip it. Probably skip it. Then you had Mookie Betts, the former MVP, Mookie Betts, who also, when he had a chance, now he actually had a chance. The Dodgers played the Red Sox in the World Series in 2018, and the Red Sox won that, and so the Dodgers didn't get to go to the White House, but Mookie Betts did have a chance to go to the Trump White House, and he skipped out on it. He didn't show up in an act of defiance. And he was there. The Dodgers showed up, and Mookie was there. He said it's not about him. It's about team unity. It's not about politics or anything like that. And so he admitted that he regretted his past boycott that stole the spotlight. All right, so let us discuss the question: should the Dodgers, Mookie Betts, and Dave Roberts have skipped the White House visit altogether, because there are these deep think pieces out there? Oh, they shouldn't have shown up this time. It's a bad job they showed up. They're cowards. They caved in, right? That's the line of thinking. I'm paraphrasing, but that's the line of thinking. So I've got Plaxico, buffet, and evangelizing. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to have some baba ganoush. We're going to make the baba ganoush. Get the eggplant ready. We're going to make the baba ganoush. Now, first of all, after a minutes-long MALLER deliberation, as the judge, jury, and executioner, I have made my ruling, and the ruling is motion denied for those that are complaining after the fact that Mookie Betts and Dave Roberts showed up to the White House. In fact, I think you should congratulate, although I feel a little weird congratulating someone for doing something they're supposed to do anyway. I know you don't have to do it, but it's a good job. They didn't act like Mama Luke's, Dave Roberts and Mookie Betts, and you're not required. It's not like you have to be there. You don't have to be there. But by not going, as Mookie Betts referenced, you make it all about you, right? You become the story. It's like I do a TV show during football season with a guy that makes it all about him, right? And so I know people in my world that make it all about them, and I want to punch them right in the nose, those people, right? I want to punch them right. It's not about you. It's not all about you and all that stuff. And so it's good. Mookie said it's about unity with the team and all, and not about politics and all that, and fine. Now, I do understand this is a generational situation. I get it. Like, I was of the generation that was raised that to hang out at the White House, that's a great honor, no matter whether you agree with the politics at the time or not. Politics change, but you have the opportunity to go hang out with the president. You want to do that. And the professional sports industry, I know other generations don't feel that way, but the professional sports industry, they took a hit when they were all up in arms over Trump, the first administration of President Trump. And the real moment where the thing flipped was when the NBA had all those woke slogans on their uniforms, and then in the bubble there, that cheesy bubble in Orlando, and they were bleeding some money there, right? They lost a lot of television audience. People were up in arms, and Adam Silver made sure the following season, let's get rid of all of that. No slogans on the courts, no slogans on the uniform, get rid of everything. And the reason he did it was because of money, right? Everything's done by money. They were losing money. They thought they were on the right side of everything and that business would be booming and all that stuff. But as an industry, the industrial complex of professional sports is like, hey, listen, lesson learned, okay? Let's not pull a Plaxico Burress, our teammate here at Fox Sports Radio. Let's not shoot ourselves in the leg. Let's not have some self-sabotage here. Keep the shrapnel away. No self-inflicted wounds. So you show up, you put on a happy face there, you smile, you get out of there. And, of course, in these times, people get up in arms about that anyway. Like there's no easy way to go about this. And so the ratings wobbled back then, and some people flinched and all that. But now, secondly, so I already saw a couple of stories about the Dodgers visiting the White House on Monday, and the sentiment is like, well, there's a lot of backlash on social media. People are up in arms. And so the question was asked, have the Dodgers alienated a significant portion of their fan base by going to the White House? And I'm shaking my head no. You can't see, but I'm passionately shaking my head no. Not just I'm going really fast. I'm shaking my head no. I'm going to get dizzy if I keep shaking my head no. But this is one of those contrived stories, and this is a pet peeve of mine. And since I have the soapbox and I've got the bully pulpit, I can rant about what's a pet peeve. Contrived stories in the media for 1,000. Contrived stories in the media for 1,000. So the Dodgers showed up. They took a photo and they gave the president a jersey. That's the normal thing you do. Those are all boilerplate things to do. Paint by numbers. Paint by numbers. This is a tradition that goes back to the 1800s. Okay, this is not something that started 40 years ago or 50 years ago. This goes back to the 1800s. The social media backlash story is bullshoy. It's also floating on the lazy river is what it is. Let me explain why. As you know, social media is the matrix. It's not real. It's the wild, wild west, social media. And if you scroll through it long enough, I promise, if you scroll through it long enough, you will find someone arguing on any side of any issue, even the most ridiculous position. You will find, whether it's real or a bot, something that is arguing with what is universally thought of as the right position. Where there's no argument, you'll find someone on the other side. So think of it if you're in the media business. Okay, if you're in the media business and you have an agenda, and your agenda is to present an issue a certain way. It's in court, they call it lying by omission, or selective editing in this case, right? Selective editing. So it's an all-you-can-eat buffet, social media, of confirmation bias. And you can pick whatever suits the agenda that you would like to have on your plate. Whatever fits that agenda. You just take that out of the buffet. It's like, I feel like spaghetti today. I'll have the spaghetti. Well, I don't want the spaghetti. I want the chicken fingers. Well, okay, I don't want the chicken fingers. So I'm going to get the cheeseburgers. But the cheeseburgers aren't that warm, so I'm not going to do the cheeseburger. So I'll do the turkey. And just pick what you want. And the social networks, as we know, they amplify controversy, like someone complaining about a trip to the White House. Oh, my God. Because it gets engagement. It's people worked up into a lather and get worked up into a tizzy. And the algorithms, the evil algorithms, they sing the loudest. They sing the loudest, the algorithms, and go on. And the more divisive the argument, the better it does with the algorithm. Now, I am sure there are some activists out there that are very upset and are burning in effigy the Dodger merchandise and all that stuff, up in arms, these activists. But they're the same people that get worked up into a lather about everything. And the great thing about the times we live in today is that these stories only last 24 hours anyway, so it's not even 24 hours. It's more like a 10-hour cycle. It's about a 10-hour cycle, so bad publicity for about 10 hours. And what I have learned from my many travels doing the show and going around and meeting you at various points across the United States, doing MALLER meet and greets. In May, we're going to be in Canada. But what I have learned from doing this show is that the vast majority are not engaged politically. You're just not. And you say, oh, that's not true. Well, from going out, boots on the ground, most of the people I come across are disengaged, indifferent, or if they're into politics, it's only when the election's going on, and they don't really care about it other than that. And that's about it. All right, now, final thought. We head to the Bronx Zoo. We go to the Bronx Zoo. That is where veteran relief pitcher Adam Ottavino This guy's bounced around. He's played for a bunch of teams. So he's on the Yankees now, and he chimed in on the story of stories to begin the baseball season. You see that Adam Ottavino believes the Yankee reputation, is doing more than anything else to amplify the conversation regarding the torpedo bats. Fire the torpedoes. All right, he said, quote, says, listen, first of all, it's the Yankees, and they scored 1 million runs the first few games, and it's cool to hate the Yankees, and it's cool to look for the boogeyman, and that's what some people are going to do and can't really stop that. Adam Ottavino, who's a generic, nondescript right-handed relief pitcher who famously said he could strike out Babe Ruth, and people said, who's that guy? He said there's a lot of misinformation and non-education on it too, close quote. So is Adam Ottavino, generic Major League Baseball relief pitcher who happens to play in the pinstripes, is he correct that it's cool to hate the Yankees? Or is he just stirring the pot? He's just sucking up to Yankee fans, sucking up to the base, the electorate. So I am going to go with answer C, all of the above. I am going to go with all of the above. Now, it's fun to poke the Bronx Bombers. It's also fun to stir the pot. Like both those. You get a talk show, it's fun to stir the pot. This job's great. And if you're a baseball player, you can stir the pot even better. But Adam Ottavino is a generic relief pitcher, dime a dozen, but really he's evangelizing the gospel. He's evangelizing the gospel. The Yankees hate, in this particular story, is unwarranted. Now, Koopa Loop, who's not here, he freaked out. He was convinced that these torpedo bats were going to ruin the record book and all that, and I rolled my eyes at that. And I know Spicoli got upset with me. I can't believe you're taking that position. So some of my foot soldiers, some of my boots that are very important in the MALLER militia, some of my senior brigadier generals, were complaining. But the point, and Ottavino mentioned this, the pitcher, these torpedo bats are, A, they're not new, and B, it's not the Yankees that are the only ones that use them. They are custom made. They're tailor-made per hitter, and they're not unique with the Yankees. That everyone in baseball has access to the torpedo bat, because the way it works, these bat companies, they have people that come to the locker rooms and say, okay, we're in the business of selling bats, and you have to pay for the bats. Here's what we have, and here's how much it costs, and pay up.